Welcome to Life is a Day at a Time, part of the 20-year celebration of Path from Poverty, equipping women who walk for water. I'm Catherine, on staff at Path from Poverty, and I've got Bonnie here with me today. Karibu. Do you know what karibu means or what language it is? Swahili is the most common language in Africa, and the first word to know is this very important word, karibu. People say it at the door of their home, in their shop, at church, at school, and it's the word that means you are welcome here. I'm glad you're here. You may come into my place and become part of my family. And this is something common all over Africa. Another word you might hear is jambo. This is greeting in Swahili, like how are you? And the answer is si jambo. So let's try it, okay? I say jambo and you say si jambo. Good. Now you need to say these welcoming words with a big smile on your face. So all together now. Karibu. Jambo. Si jambo. Good.
I am Bonnie Piper, Chair of the Board of Directors at Path from Poverty, and I'm so glad to be with you here today. Today, you're going to learn about Kenya and how the families in Kenya live there without water and what we can do about it. So here's the situation. The families that we work with are not able to go to the sink and turn on the faucet and have water coming out because they have no sink and they have no faucet and they have no water at their home. Instead, they have to take this big jug and they have to take it through the land like you see behind me, just kind of walking around looking for a place that might have water. And then they have to fill up that jerry can with that water and carry it all the way home. And it weighs about 40 pounds. So that's a lot. Children have to do this work along with their parents, especially girls. This is a job for girls and some boys to do every day. The water's not clean, so once they get it home, they have to boil it, and they hope to get some of the disease out of the water so they can drink it. Listen to this story about a girl who had to do this her whole life. And this is a true story.
Hi, I'm Cindy Tweez. In February and March of 2020, I went to Kenya and had the opportunity to work with the women of Kenya and Path from Poverty. It was a wonderful experience, and I saw firsthand how Path from Poverty is helping the women of Kenya help themselves. And they asked me to read this book, based on the childhood experience of Georgie Bedell, The Water Princess, written by Susan Verde, illustrated by Peter H. Reynolds. I am Princess Gigi. My kingdom, the African sky, so wide and so close, I can almost touch the sharp edges of the stars. I can tame the wild dogs with my song. I can make the tall grass sway when I dance. I can make the wind play hide and seek. But I cannot make the water come closer. I cannot make the water run clearer, no matter what I command. It is early morning, still dark. My mother wakes me. Gigi, my princess, it's time to get up. We must collect the water. Water, come. Do not make me wake before even the sun is out of bed, I demand. Come, please, I say. But the water won't listen, and I know we will have to walk so far to the well. I'm too sleepy to put on my crown. I think of the pot that will rest on my braids instead. The thirst comes quick. Dry lips, dry throat. I squeeze my eyes shut. I see it. Clear. I dip my toes in it. Cool. I scoop it up and bring it to my lips. Slowly, I open my eyes. Nothing. I kick the dust. I grab my empty pot and place it upon my head. My mother does the same, and our journey begins, full of song. My mama adds her melody. Our steps are light. We twirl and laugh together. The miles give us room to dance. Halfway there, we stop for a moment at the giant karate tree, long enough to grab a handful of sweet shea nuts for energy. We can keep the dance going just a little longer. Mama, are we there yet? Finally, I hear the water running from the well, the giggles of my friends, the chatter of women. Some have traveled farther than I, only to return home when the sun has gone to bed. Mama holds our place while I play with my friends. The dance continues. The water is flowing. Pots filling with the dusty earth-colored liquid. Gigi, come maintenant. My turn now. The dance home has slowed to careful steps. My thirst so heavy, like the full pot I carry. Our song is softer now. Our shoulders ache, our feet cramp. I see home at last. Mama boils enough water for drinking. We wait. We wash our clothes. We prepare food for cooking. My father comes quickly from the fields to share in the drink and the meal. He scoops me up. My princess, you have returned with the water. Drink, Mamo says. Finally. Every sip fills me with energy. I want to make it last, but I can't. I gulp it down. Clothes and body clean, I sing to the dogs. I dance with the tall grass. I hide from the wind. Maman brings one last cup she's saved just for me. Drink, my princess. Sleep, my princess. Tomorrow we journey again. Maman, I say as I close my eyes, why is the water so far? Why is the water not clear? Where is our water? Sleep, she says. Dreams, she says. Someday you will find a way, my princess. Someday. I am Princess Gigi. My kingdom? The African sky, the dusty earth. And someday, the flowing, cool, crystal clear water. Someday. Imagine your life without water. No kitchen faucet to fill your glass when you're thirsty. No shower or bathtub to clean your body. Imagine if you couldn't go to school because you had to spend each day walking for miles just to get water and not even know if the water you reach will be clean. This is true for nearly 1 billion people around the world. That's 1 out of every 6 people who doesn't have access to clean water. Please help Path from Poverty and help support them in their quest to help the women of Kenya help themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy, for reading that powerful story to us. Can you imagine living without water like Gigi? Boy, we can be grateful for what we have, can't we? But we also want to be able to help others, especially children that can't even go to school because they spend all day walking for water. Path from Poverty asked women in Kenya what they needed to help, and the women suggested catching rain into tanks next to their homes. And so we began working with them to figure out how to do that. Bonnie has been to Kenya and she's going to describe how the tanks work. And remember to hold on to your questions.
I want to give you another Kenyan word. Sometimes adults say to children, wacha, wacha. And the kids answer, ah. So that's an easy one. It's saying, how are you doing? And you're saying, I'm good, fine. But only adults say this to children. Children never say wacha to adults. So try it. I'll say, wacha. And you say, ah. That's pretty easy to remember. So let me tell you about these tanks. They're very big. Probably bigger than your dad, taller than your dad, or taller than the tallest person you know. They're really big tanks. And they put them beside their homes so they can catch the rain when it falls on their roofs. That means the roof has to be made of something pretty strong and solid, like metal or perhaps wood. They can't be grass roofs as they have in a lot of Africa, because then the rain would go right through them. And besides, they have to put gutters on the roof. You probably have gutters on your roof. And maybe you could go outside after this and check on those gutters. That's the same thing they have in Kenya. Gutters around their roofs. So the gutters will direct the rain right into the tank. So the rain falls on the roof, goes into the gutter, and then it goes right into the tank. That way, the rain that falls onto the roof goes into the tank, and they can save it for the next month and the month after that and the month after that. Because it only rains in Kenya 2 times a year. And that's really about 6 months apart. So while they have water when it rains, they don't have water when it doesn't rain. But if they have a tank by the house, then they do have water when it doesn't rain. And it makes everything so much easier. And I think that's pretty smart, don't you? Making money in their groups is a really hard thing for them to do, but they have to do it. Because when they make money in their groups and they save all that money together, they get enough for a water tank. And then Path from Poverty, which is us, we will send them enough money for a second water tank. And this changes their lives completely to have access to water. And they're very thankful for it. When they have access to water, they feel that we care for them. They feel that we love them. We haven't forgotten them, even though they're on the other side of the world. They feel our love, and then they feel God's love also. So now we're going to teach you a song about God's love. This is in the Kamba language. And the word for love is wendo. Wendo. Try and say that. Wendo. It means love. And then the other part that we're going to be singing is Masia. Have you ever heard of a word that sort of sounds like Masia? Like maybe Messiah? Yeah, Messiah. That's a word we use for Jesus. It's the same sort of thing. So they're singing Wendo wa Masia. That means the love of Jesus. And that's what this whole song is about. We're going to sing about the love of Jesus.
And this song is sung like a lot of African music. Call and response. A leader that sings the first part, and everyone else echoes what they heard. And then there's verses and other parts of the song, but the group echoes the main idea of the song. So Bonnie and I will show you, and you're going to sing along with us. I'm going to be the leader, and you follow Bonnie with the echo, the response. Okay, so the chorus goes like this. Wendo, wendo, wendo amasia, wendo.
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 That was great. Okay, we're going to do that again. And this time I'm going to put in a verse. So let me tell you how the verse works. All right. I sing a line and then you put in wendo at the end. Okay, so let's try it. God's love is big.
Wendo,
God's love is sweet.
wendo,
God's love has no hatred.
wendo,
God's love is peace.
wendo.
Yeah, that's it. So we've got that first part we did. There was the refrain, and then we'll do this verse. Okay, so we'll put it together. Don't forget to sing along with Bonnie. Wendo, wendo, wendo amasia, wendo.
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 God's love is big.
Wendo,
God's love is sweet.
wendo,
God's love has no hatred.
wendo,
God's love is peace.
wendo,
God's love is big.
wendo,
God's love is sweet.
wendo,
God's love has no hatred.
wendo,
God's love is peace.
wendo,
Wendo, wendo, wendo amasia, wendo.
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 Wow, we sound like an African choir. Well done. We're going to sing this song again in our closing session, and you guys are going to be ahead of all of the adults trying to learn this. I hope you can help us when we come to that.
Let's talk about some of the ways the women make money. So for more women to get a water tank, they have to raise money. And one way they do this is by cutting leaves from the sisal plant, which you're seeing behind me. What you're seeing is a sisal farm, so there's a lot of sisal there. But sisal can also be found on the side of the road or next to a bush. It's just everywhere in Kenya. And they don't have to pay anything to cut a leaf off. They have this way of pulling the sisal through a metal thing that takes all the green off. And inside are fibers that look like this. Can you see those? They're tiny little fibers inside a sisal leaf. And what they do is they take these fibers and they braid them. Or they make them into rope, kind of like I'm doing right now. You can see I'm just braiding it, and then it ends up looking like this. That's pretty cool, huh? And there's lots of different ways they make these. One thing they do when they make this rope is they sell it just as rope, or they use it to tie their cow to the farm, or their goat, or anything. It's very, very strong rope, so that can be used for a lot of things. But another thing they do is they dye it using flowers or bark from a tree and many different things, and they weave it into a basket that looks like this. Whoops. You can see they did this one with some brown and some red stripes in there and some green dye. It takes them quite a while to make a basket like that. Some women it takes a whole week, and others who have been doing it a long time, it might just take a day or two. These baskets are for sale in our marketplace right now. So if you want to go look at some other ones that are lots of different colors, go to the marketplace and you'll see them there.
And for all the women to get a tank, we have to raise money here in the US. Throughout our 20 years, young people like you have been an important support for Path from Poverty. For years, we collected money in these tin cans that said Harambee on them, and people would put in their spare change, money that they found on the, inside the couch cushions or that they saved by buying something that was on sale. And you could gather that change together in a can as a family. And there are kids that actually raised enough, and they'd put in their birthday money, maybe fundraising at school or at church, and they could raise enough for a whole tank. That's $1,400, which is a lot of money. But if we all put our change together, it's possible.
I know a young girl who raised quite a bit of money by making bread and cookies and cakes and selling them to her neighbors and to people in her church and her relatives. She also made jewelry and lots of other things that she sold, and she raised enough money for a tank. And the people in Kenya know her name, and they love her and are so thankful for what she did. My grandson has saved quite a bit of money, kind of like Catherine said, by saving birthday money and Christmas money and so on, and putting just part of it into a bank. And he brings it to Walk for Water every year and gives it to us. And there's enough money for a water tank. Other children have collected money from their church to buy a water tank. Lots of different ways. There's just a lot of ways that you can help. And if you want some ideas about that, let us know. I see there is a question and we don't have much time, so let's take that question right away.
Right. So Hannah asks, my kids want to know if neighbors get jealous of people with water tanks. Do they share with each other? That's a really good question. Thank you, Hannah.
That is a good question, yeah. Well, I think one of the things that the neighbors know is that they could join a Path from Poverty group and get a water tank too, if they wanted to do all that work it takes to do that. So I don't think they're so jealous. But one of the things that I was really excited to hear a couple years ago was one of the leaders said that all the women in all her cluster of groups have decided they would share their water with whoever asked for it. Now, they don't share it for washing clothes and things like that, but they will share drinking water so their friends don't get sick. And what they said was, you have shared with us. How could we not share with our neighbors? I loved hearing that.
That's very good. So please jump in here and feel free to ask any question at all. You can raise your hand. And if you don't know how to do that, maybe your parent or an adult can help you, or you can put your question into the chat. All right, we've got a question from Balswick, from Judy, I think. Do children make baskets? Ooh, that's another good question. Bonnie, did you see any young women, young girls learning this?
I've seen them learning how to do it, but I've never seen one completed by a child. Sometimes they will work beside their moms and learn how to do it, but most of it, at least the ones that they sell, are done by women who have done it for many, many years.
Right, yeah. Okay, anybody want to raise their hand? And then you can ask your question out loud. That's kind of fun. All right, we've got a question from Bonnie. Bonnie, go ahead.
Do they still have to boil the water for drinking when it comes off of their roofs into this tank? Because it wouldn't be perfectly clean coming off of a roof. So about that.
Right, that's a good question. We get that question a lot. They let the water run off the roof for maybe 10 minutes before they hook it up to the gutters and hook the gutter up to the tank. And they feel like they're cleaning off all the dust. And compared to the woman that we drink, or the water that they drink, it's pretty clean.
Well, yeah, I'm sure comparatively it is. But
yeah. Right.
Okay.
And there's also a filtration system, isn't that right?
Right, at the top of the tank. So it filters out leaves and
okay. That's good.
and stuff like
I
that.
wondered about that too.
Okay.
Thank you. You're doing a
Yeah.
good job.
Thanks. Okay, we've got a couple more questions in. Here's a related one from the Scott family. What do they use to boil the water? Are they doing this over an open flame?
Yes, a lot of women, when they go walk for water, they also gather sticks and they carry the tank on their back, and then they carry a whole bunch of sticks that they find along the way, right behind their head, because they have to bring it home and they have to boil it.
Yeah.
So they have an open flame and they make the sticks in such a way that they can put a bucket on it, and they boil the water for quite a long time, but it doesn't get all the disease out, but a lot of it.
And here's a question from someone. Does a tank get completely full during the rainy season?
Most tanks do, yes. And I never understood that until I was in Kenya this year and we had a rainstorm. And I have never seen water fall so hard for so long, even here in Seattle. It could easily, in a day and a half, fill a tank. And during the rainy season, it usually rains for maybe 5 or 6 or 7 days and stops for a couple days and then rains a few more days. So yes, it's usually full by the end of the rainy season.
Yeah. Wow. Well, these were great questions. I'm so impressed. And please let us know in the chat if you would like more information. We can get back to you. So thank you for attending our children's session. We hope you've enjoyed it. And if you want us to share this in any way with a group that you have, or a church group, or a Sunday school, we're happy to do that.